This video is on a fairly serious subject, and the subject of active shooters and the role that an armed citizen plays under that circumstance. It's based on hundreds of hours of my personal training with some of the best instructors around, including tactical training, as well as the use of deadly force. Again, the focus is on the role of an armed citizen in an active shooter situation. Some of the background is from an FBI report that was published a little over a year ago on the subject of active shooters. I'll put the link to that source down below. Before I get into some of the thinking about active shooter response specifically, there are four key points that you need to really keep in mind. And for civilian armed citizens, those are the priorities of life. And that's really how you need to think about what your steps and your actions should be. The first priority of life is you. Because if you're not there, nothing else matters. It sounds a bit selfish, but it's not. You're the one with the capability, you're the one with the training, you're the one with the motivation to do something, at least that you're aware of. And so without you, nothing else matters. The next priority of life to be considered are your family and loved ones. So it's you, your family and loved ones. Third are the innocent. Those are people who you don't know, but you can clearly identify as the innocent. Obviously, old people, children, women, the small, the infirm. You get the idea. The innocent. And last is the bad guy, or in this case, the shooter. Yes, that person has a life, and that life must be considered. But it's considered in the priority that we just went through. And what is that again? You, your family and loved ones, the innocent, and the bad guy. The next thing that's important to understand is that we're talking about active shooter situations, not mass shooting situations. Now, what I mean by that is simple. All mass shootings are active shooting, but not all active shooters are mass shooters. So we're talking about the superset of an active shooter scenario. I make that clarification because in the press, on TV, when you start seeing reports of incidents that involve a person or persons attacking more than one person with a knife or a firearm or whatever, the terms tend to get politicized, and that's not the purpose of this video. The point is that if you're an armed citizen and you're in a situation where there is a person or persons trying to harm people who are still walking around, so if they're already dead, it's not an active shooter event, then that's the thinking that we're going to be talking about. I'm going to talk about some key findings, not all of them, in the FBI report, because it has implications for you as an armed citizen as you consider what you may or may not do in an active shooter situation. The first interesting point is that 56%, that's more than half, of all of the active shooter incidents ended by the shooter. It was over before either police or anyone else could intervene to stop the situation. Now what that means is, if something starts going down in a mall or school or office or wherever you are, you're not going to have any time to leave, go to your vehicle and get your active shooter bag, saddle up, and go running back into the building and do anything. When it goes down, it's come as you are. The only thing you're going to have is what's on your body. 13%, which is not a big number, of these incidents were ended by unarmed citizens. And the reason for that is that most of these events take place in locations where having firearms are prohibited. They're either prohibited under threat of trespassing or directly prohibited by law because the proprietor or the location has put signage up. As far as I'm concerned, unless I will be charged with a felony, I will carry everywhere all the time. Only 1% of the events have more than one shooter. Now, what that means is that you're not going to go in a rumble line or wait for a posse to go in and deal with the situation. But what it does mean is that you still need to look around to see, is there a wingman or a lookout or someone else who is working on behalf of the shooter. Contrary to the common thinking, 70% of these events took place in businesses rather than in public space. And they were not, most of them were not done by an employee or a previous employee. A key finding in the report, and if you talk to most people who train in active shooter scenarios, you'll find that from start to finish, the event is over in 5 minutes or less. Now, 3 to 5 minutes is the typical response time for a law enforcement unit or units to arrive on the scene. What that means is time is of the essence. So if you decide to act, you must act immediately. Now, let's go back to the 4 priorities of life. That's you, your family and loved ones, the innocent and the bad guy, and then superimpose on that the impact of time, and that's 5 minutes or less from the time the incident starts to the time it is ended, either by the shooter's own volition or it was an intervention by other people. Time matters, number one. And number two, remember, you're only going to be able to deal with the situation based on what you have on your body at the time. So you have some choices to make, and they're not complicated. You can run, that is, leave the area if you can. You can take cover, assess the situation. You can engage the target. Remember, you have no duty to defend the innocent unless you're law enforcement and you've been called to do that. A lot of folks have a hard time with that. But understand, even though you're an armed citizen, the primary priority of life is you. The second priority of life is your family and your loved ones. Okay? You have no duty to go running down the hall in the mall or in an office building and engage anyone. Some people have a moral struggle with that, and that's okay. I leave you to your own thinking. Once you've made a decision that you're going to engage the target, you have to now think about, what do I have with me that gives me any chance of stopping that threat? If you have a little mouse gun, a 22 4-5 shot thing, what are you going to do with that? You need to be able to really know that you can engage the target from where you are or have enough time to close on the target and basically take a headshot. Another important thing to consider, and it's related to time, remember, 5 minutes or less, is your distance from the event. Now, in a recent active shooter situation on a college campus, there were 2 armed students, armed citizens, who were across campus and decided that they would move toward the location across campus where the event was taking place. Now, I don't know if you've been on a college campus lately, but getting from one place to another most of the time takes more than 5 minutes. At the same time, 2 plainclothes police officers had shown up, and they were converging on the location. So you have 2 plainclothes cops and 2 armed civilians converging on the same place. Guess who's going to get shot? Right? So if you're an armed citizen, you really, really need to understand, am I going to be walking into the situation either concealed? The more my firearm is concealed, the more vulnerable I am, because the bad guy has the advantage. The other thing is that another concealed carry person could already be on the scene. And since civilians don't train together, we don't train to communicate together as a team, that person will see you as a potential threat, and you're at risk now of being engaged, innocently or not, by an armed citizen who is already on the scene. That's a decision you have to make. What that means, if you think you're going to go barreling into this thing with your firearm drawn or just running in, everybody else is running the other way or they're trying to hide, you put yourself at risk of being perceived as one of the bad guys and shot by another concealed carry person or law enforcement. It is a risk that you need to think about all the time when you're out and about, and if something goes down, you have to have your head on a swivel to make that decision. Keep in mind that even if you're a 911 and you're talking to police dispatch and you identify yourself and you tell them what you were and you're saying that you're engaging the active shooter, you're engaging the target, all that does is advise the responding officers. They are still going to come in hot, right? They're going to come in hot, and they're going to deal, because they're under stress, they're going to deal with what they see in front of them. And if the first thing they see is a person standing over another person with a gun, they will shoot you. Once you've decided, or you've made it so that the bad guy or guys or girls or whatever are down and they're not going to get up and they have no access to the weapons that they were using, as soon as you do that, you either holster your weapon or put it aside, put your hands behind your head, get down on the ground, and don't move until some law enforcement person tells you what to do. Otherwise, you're going to take a dirt nap when you didn't want to. Now, I will tell you my personal choice in terms of tactics here. I always carry a large caliber handgun all the time. And I carry enough rounds to deal with a fight. It's always concealed. I don't open carry. Whether I'm with my family and loved ones or not, I apply the priorities of life. My family and loved ones are not there, so it's me, the innocent, and the bad guy. What I do with that is I want to protect myself. So just like if you're in an infantry squad and you're bounding, what are you doing? You're going for cover. You're not going to stand there in a perfect shooting stance and do jack. You're going to take cover, assess the situation, which includes, can I make the shot? what's the bad guy wearing? Are there any other people? All of that. The second thing is, because it's me, I'm going to look around and make sure that any innocents who are around me understand that I will protect them. Don't move, get closer, right? And then I'm going to wait for the bad guy to come to me, because he's going to close the range on his own, and that way I can protect myself as well as the innocents that are around me. It minimizes my risk and it minimizes risk to the people. If I'm with my family and loved ones or anyone else that are innocent and I can escort them out while being armed, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have my firearm, I'm going to provide cover as we get out of the area, if we can get out of the area. But as soon as I get outside, guess who's going to be there? The cops or some, So I want to make sure that I don't get shot taking the people to safety. And those are some things that you need to think about as well. Now, there is a specialty situation that I'll call the terrorist situation. That is, a group of folks who have come in and they have long guns or whatever, and they are intentionally trying to wreak havoc. I would call the Columbine guys, all the guys that came in with a long gun, in that category. If all I have is a handgun and the bad guys have a long gun, my tactical goal would be to take out one, usually the last one that goes by me, and take their weapon. It's called battlefield pickup. So I'm going to take their weapon, take their ammo, and now I have what they have, and I can now engage at a longer distance. Still risky. As the police come in or somebody else comes in, they're not going to be able to tell you from the bad guys. So it's a choice that you make, and remember, you have 5 minutes or less to make that decision, unless it goes on for quite a long time. Another thing to think about is after. Assuming that you are emotionally squared away to deal with the after, you're going to have people that are bleeding, that are injured. EMTs don't come in. They are not allowed in for 15, 20 minutes is normally what it takes, because law enforcement has to declare the area safe for them to come in. At least that's the prevailing tactic today. If you are trained and you carry the equivalent of an individual first aid kit, that would include something for a gunshot wound, battlefield trauma, a tourniquet, something to stop the bleeding, something to stop chest wounds, and CPR, mask or something like that you're going to wear, which is pretty much it. You can save lives because plugging the hole, stopping the bleeding, those things matter, and they can help the person survive until the EMTs can get to the site. I hope these thoughts have helped shed some light on this, what I would call a modern phenomenon, and give you food for thought as well. Of course, your thoughts and comments are welcome. Put them down below. Thanks for watching. Carry on.